Well, well, well. Hello, Cement Shoes. Welcome to the stream. I hope you are having a wonderful weekend and evening tonight. Evelyn Roman, hi. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here. So we're going to wait for some more people to join, hopefully. And then we're going to talk about true crime. We're going to do a little bit of case updates on some of the cases that I have recently covered here on this channel. Not my verbiage. Good evening. Welcome to the stream, Linda. I'm glad you could be here. Excuse me. Joanne, hi. Welcome to the stream. Glad you could be here, Joanne. I hope you find the content worth watching. Debbie, I will. So happy you're here. I always look forward to you coming in on live. Well, thank you, Debbie. I appreciate that. But like I said, we're going to wait for a little bit of. We got 18 here now. I guess we could get going on it. So, hope I didn't miss anybody. Lexi, hi, Lexi. I got my notepad here. So we're going to do a little bit of a review, as I was telling Cement Shoes when he first came in. We're going to do a review on cases that I've recently updated, cases that I've covered on my channel only recently. And we're going to start off with Lori Vallow. In case you haven't seen my most recent video on Lori, her and her attorneys lost the ability to get Mr. Wood removed from the case. And yes, thank you everybody for pointing out that it's Wood and not Woods, plural and possessive. So I am sorry if I have ever said Woods repeatedly in a video, and I will try better in the future to make sure that I don't do that unless it's appropriate and I am actually making it possessive. So thank you again for pointing that out. But they lost the ability to get Mr. Wood removed from the actual case. They found no errors, no coercion, no undue influence, and they didn't find that the threats of possible life imprisonment or the death sentence to be credible. So he gets to stay on the case, and the case moves forward from there. Now let's check out some of the comments. Love making your live. So thank you, Linda. So welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a good evening. So yeah. Make sure I didn't miss anybody. Joanne, I'm a new patron. We'll look forward to the show. After this stream, if you have nothing to do, there is a Patreon and channel member live stream that is coming up at 7 o'clock tonight. The first Sunday of every weekend, I will be doing that live. So I've gone from one stream, live stream per week to now the first weekend of the month. I'm now doing 3, but there will be a total of 4 live streams altogether every single month, not including every Saturday morning that I've done for 119 straight. Then I missed one, and then I've done 63 more since then. But I did miss that one. Kool-Aid lips, Lori. Oh yeah. That's a joke about her makeup. Lori Vallow and her lipstick. She wanted red lips for court. Short and nice. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a good weekend and an excellent night. I'm glad you could be here tonight. Salty. I don't have my glasses with me. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I don't know if that's 2 I's or if that's an I and an L. Yeah, I would have my glasses. I texted my wife to see if they would bring them to me from inside the house, but I forgot them, and I'm really sorry. So if I have to do this, I'm squinting because I can't see. Even though I have a 60-inch, monitor, I still can't read the stream. They should think about ways to like expand that. I know what there is. You are busy, Will. Well, love it, love you, thank you. Well, I'm trying, and as I was telling others on the community tab, I'm going to be doing this at least for the next month, maybe two, and then I will look back on it and I will see if there is any anything needs to be changed time wise, date wise, or if the streams are even worth doing anymore. If I don't get anybody that tune in to watch them or take part in them, there's no reason for me to do it. And I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping people enjoy the content. So let's move on to the next case. Next one is Mr. Little, the most prolific serial killer ever here in the United States. Now, when I say prolific killer, he has the highest body count, not the most disgusting, not the most vile. He is definitely he confessed to 96 killings, and far succeeding Ted Bundy, Gacy, Dahmer, and a handful of others, all wrapped together. He has more. He confessed to more. Now they've only found 66 victims. The other 30 they may not find because a lot of the geographic locations where he buried and disposed of the bodies has changed a great amount. And as of to 2020, they don't know of anybody who has been convicted of any of the other murders. Because most of the I wouldn't say all, but most of the women that he killed were either prostitutes, runaways, or they lived on the fringe of society, where in Little knew that by killing them, that very few people would ever go looking for them or ask questions about their disappearances. So, but he traveled around the United States, so he never really killed in one area, and that was something that really threw the FBI and law enforcement for a loop for a lot of years. And how he got away with it was, even though he used the same MO in all of his cases except for one, he never stayed in one location long enough for them to say, okay, this is who probably did it. This is who we should look for. That in a lot of cases where he was listed as a person of interest in the case, they had an alias written down because he used several different names over the course of his lifetime and his killing spree. So, but on to what is new about Little. His body is still in the mortuary there and has not been claimed by a family member as of this past Thursday. So if his body is not claimed, he will be buried there at the cemetery, in the cemetery graveyard. He will be given just a simple plaque with a number on it, his prison inmate number. They do not put their names on the plaques or anything else, and they're all flat at the ground, no raised headstones. So it's easier to mow over and keep up the grass in that area. But that's where he will be buried if the family doesn't claim him. Does he have family? Yes, he does have family, and he does have one ex-wife that is still alive, available, but alive, and she could claim the body and then have his body brought back to there and then buried in a grave or cremated. But so far, nobody has stepped up to actually claim his body. So he's there. He sits lays in the mortuary. Well, thank you for the super chat, Left Hand RN. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Pretty and Camo, welcome to the stream. Jabberjaws, welcome. I hope you're having a great weekend. Welcome to the stream. Leah Watt, welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy the content. I hope you're having a great weekend. All right. Next one is, I got some positive and some negative on the next one. So the next one is over a cold case that I covered on Michelle Mitchell. Now, a couple of people reached out to me who said that they were family members of Michelle Mitchell, and they thanked me for doing and bringing light to the cold case and keeping her memory alive. That's great. I really, I like hearing things like that, and it's not the first time that I've heard from family members, and there are some actual subscribers on my channel who are the remaining family members of victims of serious crimes where they lost their loved ones. But Michelle, these people said that they were members of Michelle Mitchell's family and thanked me for keeping her memory alive. At the same time, flip the page. I heard from an individual through the now closed, and I thought it was closed, Facebook page. And this individual went on to say that I had made serious, grievous errors in the case, that he was the nephew of the case of Michelle's, and that he knew that I made up 90% of it, and that he wanted me to take down the video. So this is what I do, for a lot of people, even if they have a positive comment about, like the people who reached out to me for the and left it and said their family members and left a positive, comment. I copy and paste your name into the stupid, search box on Facebook. And then I look to see, if positive or negative on the case in the comment. I copy and paste you into Facebook, and then I look to see if the icon that you used when you sent me the message matches that actual page. And the person who did this, well, is not a member of her family, doesn't even live in the same state, and has a real last name that is different, and is also comes back to another YouTube channel and an Instagrammer who has covered cold cases and disappearances. And so I sent him a message through another account we won't get into, but I sent him another message and I said, hey, I hear you reached out to this guy. Is it true? And have you ever covered this case? Not so they don't know it's me messaging them. And well, they admitted to sending me the message, not knowing it's me. And they sent me a link to their video where they covered Michelle Mitchell's cold case. So, good, bad. That's the way I live here in this world of YouTube. I get a lot of good and I get a lot of bad. So, what else do we got here? Gayla Denson. Hey there, hey everyone. Welcome. I hope you're having a great weekend, Gayla. Welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here. Jabberjaws, I did it all. Embalming, host funerals, take bodies to cremation for cremation and pickup. That's cool. I have a nephew who actually he was going to do, he went into the mortuary sciences, and he actually works for a big conglomerate nursing home, funeral home services that you probably are very aware of. They own a large portion of the industry, and people might think that's creepy, but it's all part of life. Doing what you did in embalming, cremation, and hosting funerals and stuff. But I know from my nephew, he makes a damn good living at what he does, and he's not a morbid, sick individual, and nor does he have any desire to start killing people and burying them in their backyard. A lot of people think weird about the those who are in the mortuary sciences, but he's just my nephew's just a good down to earth Christian who just wants to help out. He wants to relieve the suffering of families at the at a very tragic point in their lives. So yeah, two big company. He works for one of them. So let's just say that he doesn't own his own funeral home, The company does, but he works for them. He's like a what they call it, a franchisee, I guess, or something like that. I don't know what they actually what the term is there, but they basically supply everything. And he gave me the lowdown on once on what the coffins, and some of the services and how they upsell. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. If anybody wants to, jump in and talk to Jabberjaws about it, I'm sure the Jabberjaws would love to, answer your questions about it. That's the last moments a family will spend with their loved one. Yeah, it's true. It's very true. Norma Thompson, welcome to the stream. Sorry if I missed you earlier. I hope you're having a great weekend and a terrific Sunday. Pretty and Camo, I said hello. Okay, so is it Salty Melee? Melee? Sorry if I'm butchering that. It is an IL. I had to get up and actually walk over to the screen and put my face against it almost. Can't afford to live, and it's too expensive to die. In a lot of ways, that's absolutely true. The makeup is crazy. I don't know if he does makeup. I think they have a cosmetologist who comes in and does the makeup, but I could be wrong. Or he was telling me once about people people were going through to get their cosmetology license. They come in to do the hair of the deceased. They ask the family what kind of style did this person normally wear, blah blah blah. And they kind of get feedback from the family. Millie? Miley? I'm sorry. Jenna H. Hi, Will and chat. Hi. Welcome to the stream. Jenna H. Okay. The next one is because the only reason why I did an update I'm doing an update on this one is because I was directly asked to do so. And the next one is on, say with me, Christopher Watts. So first I went back in and I looked at what I could factually support. There's a lot of rumors out there, especially on certain channels and online news publications that are more gossip rag, than they are news related. But there's a lot of rumors out there that I could not substantiate at all. So I actually started off with a list of like 15 different items, and when it came down to actually being able to document them, I was only able to document 4 of 15 that I originally, I saw that people said this, and other websites said that, but it narrowed down to 15, from 15 to 4. So the first one, going back before the holidays, before Christmas of 2020, Christopher Watts asked for protective custody during the holidays and did receive a move from his housing unit into protective custody. He was not censured or sent to the hole for anything that he did wrong. He did get in trouble for another inmate. Items of his ended up in another inmate's cell, and there's plenty of ways that could happen. And I could get into it all, but we would be here all night. But in a nutshell, he asked for protective custody, and he was placed in protective custody during the holidays. Next, he was restricted from phone use, and that phone use restriction included his parents. And what I could not substantiate was the actual date or length of time that he was restricted from actual phone use. No, but he was restricted, and it is on his permanent record that he has been restricted from phone use, and he may lose good time for it. Not that he's ever going anywhere. He's not ever going to get out. So if he lost 15 days of good time, or 10 days, or 2 days, or whatever he may have lost, it ain't going to make much of a difference when he's going to live his life, die, and then have to live his life 3 more times in prison before he'd ever be eligible for parole. In a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is he's never getting out. Next, he does not have any contact with Nicole Kissinger, and she is not writing him or contacting him under an alias. According to the last release from the actual Dodge Correction Center, there are a total of only 4 people who are contacting Christopher Watts. And here's the bombshell, ladies and gentlemen. None of them are outside of the United States. No one. He's not writing anybody outside the United States, and nobody from outside the United States is writing him. He has a very restricted contact list. And although he has to ask to have certain contacts approved, he is still not allowed to contact the Ruszczyk family. And so that goes right along with it. He's not allowed to call them. He's not allowed to write them. He's not allowed to do anything unless they decide that they want to hear from his stupid ass. Sorry. All right. The next one, and the last one, is Christopher Watts' mommy, Cindy Watts. Cindy Watts is, yes, writing a book. And she has sent the first chapter. She did it of her own accord. She sent the first chapter to 3 different publishers. One of those publishers was HarperCollins Press, and they confirmed that they did receive the first chapter of the book. She's trying to find a publisher, basically. Is she writing the book by herself? They didn't say on their site at all, but they did confirm that she is writing a book, and they received the first chapter, first chapter of the book, and she is looking for a publisher. That's it on her possibly writing a book or anything else. Like, all we can confirm is she's actually wrote a book, or she's writing a book, and she's shopping around for a publisher, trying to get it published. If she doesn't find one, maybe Chad Daybell and his publishing company will publish it for her. But, well, you never know. Or she can go into self-publishing. I mean, obviously, they published Miss Cato's book, and most of that was plagiarized. So why not publish Cindy Watts' book? If you want to burn your publication down, you might as well do it after doing that. So that's the 4 cases and the end of the updates. Now I'm going to take questions from you. Missy Q, welcome to the stream. I'm glad you could be here today. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. Miss Molly Mandy, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a wonderful weekend as well. Colleen Ellis, welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a great weekend. Maggie May, welcome, Maggie May. I hope you're having a good weekend. You're staying safe out there. Norma Thomas, welcome to the stream. Tim Flanagan, welcome to the stream, Tim. I hope you're having a great weekend. Pokemon Go. Well, welcome, Pokemon Go. How are you doing this evening? I hope you're doing well and you're having a great weekend. Oops. I clicked on the wrong window there. Loser here. My father watches a Japanese channel called JCU, which stands for Japanese Conservative Union. It's damn crazy channel that currently demonetizes Joe Biden. Demonizes. Now, you would be surprised. Like me and my wife were talking about on, I believe it's on our stream that we put our podcast episode that we put out today. I've talked to friends and family all over the world. London. She lives in South Africa, but she's in New Zealand right now. And then we have another family member who lives in Australia. And we have an uncle who is currently working in the Middle East. He works in the oil industry. And the version of the events from what took place in Washington, D.C., and what they are seeing on television and what they're getting in their media is vastly different in a lot of ways over what is actually what took place and what didn't happen, and how these people were dressed and how they weren't. In a nutshell, in the Middle East, Uncle, from what he learned from television and press, was this was an armed takeover of the capital, and that they came in guns blazing. That's the story they're telling them on television and in press over there in the Middle East. I didn't see anybody storm in with rifles during that. I mean, I saw people, practicing their constitutional rights, standing outside with some, and they had the right to do that. But I didn't see anybody storm in, with rifles and, shooting. So it's sad, because what we see here and what people are seeing and how they view it and their understanding of events around the world are different. So Norm Thomas, hello. Hello, Sunshine. Welcome to the stream, both of you. In case I missed either one of you earlier. I hope you're both having a great weekend. The Middle East perspective is designed to create chaos. Yeah. Well, if you saw I asked them to send me the stream, and unfortunately, it's kind of hard to see what he sent it to me, and the video that was showing there on television. And I'm not 100% sure. It might have been Al Jazeera, but I'm not 100% on the actual network itself. But the picture's really grainy from the video he sent me. It's basically him holding his cell phone up to a television. So you're obviously losing perspective on the quality there, and just doing that. But then the text and him embedding it and sending it to me and then having to compress it, it's basically useless footage. But it definitely has a non-patriotic and a twist to it. But at the same time, what my family down in Australia and New Zealand, what they're being told is different from what actually happened as well. From what the media there is saying, it was an extraordinary large takeover, and it wasn't just one building that was taken over, that it was multiple buildings in DC, and this was an armed conflict where it was planned. I didn't see much planning involved in what happened. I didn't hear about multiple buildings being taken over. And that's just how the first bit of information that came out was being transmitted through, maybe the BBC, and then somebody. It's like if I tell you this apple is red, and I tell you to go tell somebody else this apple is red, by the time it gets to the 15th person in that loop, do I even have an apple in my hand by the time it gets to the 15th person? Maybe I'm holding a red canary. That's just how people are. Gather 10 of your friends around. And like this used to be an old game that we used to play when we were kids. It's like called Pass the Secret. You tell one person the secret, and then it goes around the room, and and then the last person to hear it writes it down, what they heard, and from the first person to the last person, it's drastically different. It's just like eyewitnesses to a car accident. The one person sees it one way, the people inside the car and the actual evidence of the crime may be completely different. James Taylor, I think of how unscrupulous our media is. No wonder the Middle East dresses it up. Yeah, it's absolutely true, James. Absolutely true. Miss Molly Mandy, in the UK, we are all in virus lockdown as rates of infection are high. I'm sorry about that. Not everybody's on lockdown, though. Maybe the most people are, but the family that we have there, depending upon, I guess it would be more than what you do for a living. If you are a frontline worker, they're still able to leave their home because they have to be there. But yeah, well, where I'm at now, we went from phase 3 to phase 1 again. We're almost on complete lockdown, and from what I hear in certain parts of Canada, they're going into almost complete lockdown as well. It's not going to get better until it gets much, much worse. We either start rolling out and giving millions of vaccines a day, or we get herd immunity, or both. Sad. These must be the last days of if the Browns beat the Steelers, time to get right with Jesus. Now, the Browns Steelers game, isn't that tomorrow night or is that tonight? I put money on the Browns. I put money on the Browns because, especially after the comment of Juju Smith-Schuster, he said that this Browns team is the same team that they play every year, and they're no better than they have been for the last 5 years. I was like, wow, that takes some serious, to actually be able to say something like that because, regardless, we're talking about American football here, the NFL, football. So give you guys context in case you have no idea what we're talking about. The Browns are vastly improved over where they were 5 years ago. Will they make it all the way to the Super Bowl? I don't know, but I hope they beat the Steelers. Hazel Turner, 1:29 a.m. here. Well, welcome to the stream, Hazel Turner, and I hope you had a great weekend. Tammy Lynn, hi, Will and all. Hi, Tammy. Welcome to the stream. Tam Lynn. Welcome to the stream. I hope you had a wonderful weekend as well. Yes, in Quebec, there is a lockdown from 8 p.m. to 5 p.m. Well, you stay safe, Pretty in Camo. You don't need this either. Yeah. Nova Scotia. Browns up 14-0 with 10 minutes left in the first quarter. Cool. Thanks, James. Well, I didn't did I place the bet to beat the spread? I think I did. Pretty sure I did. It wasn't just a standard bet. Big tech is out of hand too. It's going to get worse, Lexi. That's something that that's barely on anyone's radar, but is really needs to be looked at. Big tech, and just how much information they have on you, me, and everyone else on the planet, and how they pass that information around and sell it I mean, they don't give it away for free, but they can collect information on you and they sell it in rapid time. So I was telling people that an interesting way to find out how grocery stores know what you want, and their websites and everything else. Go to a store and buy 5 items that are all orange in color. An orange, maybe buy orange juice, maybe buy something else that's an orange shirt, buy something else. Then go home and see how long it takes for your Google to start suggesting you orange products. Especially if those stores offer a rewards card, you have to swipe it at the register to earn points or whatever. They're watching us every time we do something, every move we make. Steelers lose does ease the pain from Seattle loss yesterday, especially when they lose in embarrassing fashion. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Seahawks, they didn't look like they wanted to win that game. But the one that's going around, the meme that's going around on Twitter right now is it looks like the Seahawks wanted to take the rest of the year off. Question. What is the question, Linda? Question from me. LOL. Okay. I'm scrolling up. When researching a case, is it hard for you to find factual documents and such? No. But I have to put that in context, though. It depends on how recent the case is, where the case is. There are a lot of states. Let's just take Minnesota for instance, since you're probably more familiar with the inner workings of the state of Minnesota than anywhere else. When it comes to a case like that, maybe something tragic happens in Minnesota, and I want to research that case. There are multiple avenues that I start with. The first thing I start with is always like the Star Tribune in newspapers. See what they have to say on their online edition of the news. Did they cover the story? Is there anything in there that will lead me to someone else? Did they mention a nephew, a niece, an uncle, a brother, or somebody? Did they mention somebody in a family? If the person is deceased, has there been enough time since that person passed to the point when they write the actual obituary? And online, I mean, you can type in the person's name and then type in obituary, and there are quite a few different online sources, for people who actually do it. And then you can find like the sharing book and stuff like that for an obituary. And then I use that to find the names of a person. If I want to find documentation on the actual case, going backwards, I might start with the newspaper again or the actual county itself. And once I find the actual county and location, Hennepin, wherever the case may have happened, look on their website. Now, if maybe the person who committed the crime has been arrested and they're currently locked up in the Hennepin County Jail, so then I start with that. I go to their website and I try to find out if they have a portal for bail bondsmen, or if they have a link on the actual Hennepin County, because I haven't been on the Hennepin County county jail website in a while, and I try to see if they have it, any links to bail amount, information about the actual crime being charged. But to answer your question in general, no. You just have to think about it like you have to put a jigsaw puzzle together. I try to imagine it, and out here in space. And then I get my trusty notebook out and I start listing. I take the piece of paper and I divide it down the middle. I write down what I know and what I want to know on the other side. Then I flip the page and I make a line down the middle, and I look to try to find the actual documentation for what I'm trying to actually prove about that individual or that case. I've been doing this for so long. And it comes naturally to me. And after newspapers, I try to see if there's a mention on social media. People don't keep their mouth shut about anything. And if you once you get a couple leads, on a case, you can start rolling with that. Looking for documentation, people who knew the person. There's vast ways to be able to prove things and get documentation. On a case. It's just some cases are definitely a lot harder than others because of the jurisdiction. They don't have They don't. That maybe the county doesn't post things online or arrest records or booking photos. If they do release anything to the press, it's usually short and to the point. They don't miss any. They don't mention anything more than what the actual event. And then there's other jurisdictions that have everything that they do is not online. Everything is still old school by paper, and you have to actually write them and request information under the Freedom of Information Act. And some of them charge money to get documentation. For instance, going back to the Christopher Watts case, they're in Weld County. Weld County, for a lot of what they keep on information on inmates, visitors logs, and stuff like that, it's not online. You have to actually write them, and you have to pay a file clerk, to actually go and pull the file and photocopy the information, and then they can put it in the snail mail to you, mail it to you with a stamp, put a stamp on it, and mail it to the United States Post Office. You can get it in about a week, or you can pay a courier service to go pick it up in person and then overnight it with FedEx to you. So it all depends, sweetheart. Really does. I've helped a lot of people walk through, and I have a sheet, Linda, that I have that where when I want to do a video on a case, I write out basically a, what do you call it, kind of like a timeline of events and information, and as if I think of it this way, as if you're going to write a book report, for school, and you want to make it a Cliff Notes version of that, not a long form, handwritten out or typed out book report, but the Cliff Notes version of it. And then I write it all out, because I don't keep anything on the computer. I keep it all right here in these notebooks. Whenever I can get these on sale, I buy dozens of them at a time. Usually right after school gets out, they go really, really cheap. Oh, welcome to the channel membership, Pretty and Camo. I appreciate that, sweetheart. Sorry, my eye itches for some reason. It's been bothering me for a while here. I have one book so I never mix these up. So I have one notebook. This is just cases. Then I have one for live streams. And then I have another one that is just notes or suggestions on cases that I'm looking at. Maybe I haven't gotten there to the point where I moved on to, I'm going to put it in this one. And every one of them, and this is something cool. So this one's black. Red's always live stream. Blue is for notes for that I'm things that I'm thinking of, or I want to do a case on, or I'm researching. Maybe it's like the beginning part of that case. And I always keep them in the same place. They never go anywhere else. They're not all over the house or anywhere else in the studio. Right here. And then after they go from the blue notebook, I tear the pages out. I don't want to show you what these are here. So the mail is on top. but I write them. I don't think you can see that, but this is all on making thumbnails and metrics for YouTube. But I tear the pages out and then I slip them into the notebook as I'm actually using it. That's my system. Sure, that's probably pretty boring to a lot of people. At general, I probably have 15, 16 different cases that I'm currently working on. And on average, it's usually around 12 or 13 different cases. And it does upset a lot of people. And I replied to a couple comments today about that. Why don't I cover every case? Why haven't I covered this case? Not every case, but they want to know why I haven't covered. Particularly the comments today were, why haven't I done a video on Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, actually I have. It's just not on my channel for general audiences. It's on it's on my YouTube, and it's on there for channel members only. Because, well, I made it for them because I figured they deserved it, and they were the ones who kept on asking about it. So I covered the case. I'm covering the case for them, just them. So I can't cover every case. I mean, just go to your Google right now and type in murder in the news, and then scroll down and hit more. I think the last one was 992 murder cases that will come up with that match, and about 50% of them are within the last like 3 months. Americans, we kill each other a lot. We do. We're sick individuals. No, they don't, Tam. They don't. And but then again, it's my fault. To be absolutely honest, I want to document so much of what I talk about, and I want to factually prove it. That way, I know what the truth is, and I know I'm giving the absolute best information I can on the case. And it really upsets a lot of people that I don't do the case. I don't get it out as fast as possible, and I don't do, this, or I am not covering that. Why haven't I covered this case? Just don't. I don't have the time. Don't have the resources. I'm one man, and it's hard. And they don't. And like you said, they don't realize just how much work goes into each and every case. But again, that's my fault, and I don't expect people to realize that. You should be able to watch my content and immediately get the information. And I try not to draw out, make it long-winded. But just like if you've been watching this stream since I started, I'm a long-winded individual. I do a lot of this when I should be doing this. Stay sneaky. Welcome to the stream. It's your channel. You don't need to explain yourself. That's true. I don't. But a lot of people demand it, though. They do. Why are you doing this? Why are you not doing that? I mean, I'm not trying to, make light of it or put people down for doing it. I want to hear from people, and I really do. It's like, the video I did the other day, I had 5 or 6 different people who left negative comments about me as an individual. They've never met me. They never will meet me. The likelihood is very, very slim that they ever would. But they watched my content. They left negative things about me personally. And every one of those 5 that I replied back to were all like, "You're going to go ahead and block me now." Well, I mean, hey, sure, you did, drag it down into, the mud here by calling me names and making fun of me. This isn't the 3rd grade anymore. We're not on the playground. But I don't see the need to necessarily block them unless they do something to harass others, or they post certain things, racist or homophobic comments in the streams or comments. I'll block you in a heartbeat for doing that. But if you disagree with me, great. Be an adult about it. Just don't see the need to do it. So apparently, and like my friends who have other YouTube channels have told me, look, you're bringing this on yourself by not blocking these people. As soon as they're rude to you, why don't you just block them and get rid of them? I want to hear the other side. You could do one case, Linda, and you could do one case for the rest of your life. And if the haters want to find you and they think that they can get a reaction out of you, they'll stick around. That's the one thing that they want the most, is they want a reaction out of you. They want you to feel worthless. They want you to feel less about the quality of your work and what you're doing. And they will come for you if they want to. And there's nothing you can stop. You can't stop them. They just, one comes and then they just feed on each other. And it's sad. It's really sad. And that's the way the internet is in a lot of aspects. They're not held accountable for what they do. They're not held accountable for what they say. And they feel like they're invincible behind that keyboard. I have friends who are in the same boat as you, who are only covering one case. They do one case and they do that one case exceptionally well, just like you. And a hater found them one day when they were doing a stream, and that one hater turned into 5, 10. And now, doesn't matter where they go on social media or anywhere, they stalk them. They stalk them everywhere. It's sad. And YouTube, in their infinite freaking wisdom, make it almost impossible to get any time of real-time support for what is happening. When it goes sideways, it goes sideways, and it goes quick. I pray that it never happens to you. I really do. But you have to prepare yourself for the day that that somebody may come after you. In that, not physically in person, but online, come after you on your content and what you do. It's Jen H. It's more than just trolls. There are people, they want to knock creators down to the point where they leave, they walk away, and they consider that a victory. I have a friend who has a cosmetic channel. She does is do cosmetic reviews and reviews of their cosmetic samples. It's like a club you belong to, where each month they send you different samples of different things, and she does reviews of things like that, and along with makeup tutorials. And the negativity that I get is absolutely a drop in the bucket compared to how some of the people will act on her channel in the comment section. It is deplorable. And I'm sorry to say, but a lot of times when it comes to these makeup channels and cosmetics reviews, it is women turning on women. I've never read some of the most negative comments that I have ever seen in my life than I have on that channel. And she's gotten to the point when, she does a video, she doesn't even have the comment section turned on anymore. And that's bad. it's not going to help her grow. But it's gotten to the point she had to, because people were viciously attacking each other over cosmetics. Jabberjaws. Jabberjaws has a question. I'm scrolling up. I'm trying to find Jabberjaw's question. Will, can you get an autopsy report on a murder victim that's not a solved case? Depends. And that's a real answer. Again, it depends upon where the case happened, and if after the actual murder happened, if it made it to court, and if there was a seal on the documentation of the autopsy report, toxicology reports. Example is they have sealed all the documentation surrounding the deaths of Cece and Bella and baby Nico and Shanann in the Watts case. All that stuff was released. The court got it. The court then put a seal on all of it. Nobody has copies of it anymore. There were a couple pages that were initially leaked because the district attorney, I'm drawing a blank right now on his name, but I can picture him. Doesn't matter. Anyways, he put out a press release, and there was one word in that press release that actually had a link to it, and it led to the initial findings of the autopsy. And I think the link was on that press release for, I want to say, maybe 2 hours, but you had to really look and read the entire report that was still on the Weld County website. And it wasn't the complete report. It was just the initial findings, but it did give some graphic details of the conditions of the two girls and the condition and blood loss and bruising on Shanann's body. But it linked to that initial report. But it was a link, and it was a mistake, and they corrected it, and it's gone. And they have done everything they can to scrub the internet of that, if it ever shows up anywhere. I'm sure they're still looking at it. They probably, not that there's someone out there right now like, I'm going to find it, I'm going to get it. No, that you can run a simple program search report for it, software wise, where it'll look for it if it ever comes back up again. But to answer your question, again, it depends. You can get a lot of autopsy reports directly from the county auditor's offices in a lot of jurisdictions. If there's been a legal part of it, though, it's a lot harder. Murder victim or questionable circumstances. I know in the state of Indiana, trying to get an autopsy report in the state of Indiana is damn near impossible. They want to know, well, who's asking for the information? Why do you want the information? And then once you finally give that to them, they still they drag their feet on should they release the information? And a lot of it is it's out there anyways. I hope that answers your question, though. D. Rourke, thank you. I could picture his face and his haircut. I couldn't remember his name. After a while, ladies and gentlemen, you get to the point where you're like, it's not just a senior moment that you forget names and and certain details. It's like, I knew this like 10 minutes ago, but something else filled that spot. Or in Orson West, the two missing boys from California. I can't prove it. but I have a couple of hunches on it. I'm pretty sure they're not buried in the backyard. Um, if I had to place money on it, I'd go back to their old residency beforehand, where they lived at before they moved there. I would start the investigation there. And I would start with probably bringing in cadaver dogs there, searching, because cadaver dogs, even though if it was cleaned up, they may be able to get a scent or smell something even in on the property. Maybe there's rags that were discarded and buried. There might be evidence in the backyard that they might be able to find of that home, and place where they lived. I'd start there. And then I would look in locations and start tracking down where they traveled before the day that they reported the children missing. So I think that I don't necessarily think that the stepfather, sorry, I don't think he was necessarily 100% responsible in it. But there are a lot of things that are interesting about the family. Police reports. You can request police reports for a given address to see how many calls the police have been dispatched to that residency. There are several calls that were to that residency, but when I went back and looked at the dates on those calls to that residency, it may have been the people who lived there before them. So, and most of it was domestic in nature. Calls that out, loud argument, people fighting in the front yard. But the police were dispatched to that actual address, and very, documentable. I mean, all you got to do is just contact the police department for in that jurisdiction. They may or may not give you the information. The worst thing that anybody, if you're ever trying to track down and document a case, and you want information on something, the worst thing that somebody can ever tell you is no. They're not going to give it to you. Man, I hear no all the time, a lot of the time. I hear no. Someone will not tell you. They will not give you the information. So then you just find other ways to get the information. A lot of really good investigative journalists out there still. They're not working for your newspapers anymore. Some of them are working in television or their online publications of what used to be, TV shows. Do you have either academic or employment history with investigative journalism, or is it a passion project? You sure thought that with the facts, I always present them very well. James, I started off in this journey of life trying to find my missing brother. My brother disappeared in mid-70s, and me and my sisters have made it our life passion and drive to try to find him. Now, he was an adult at that point. He wasn't a missing child. He was an adult. And I have Rolodexes, the old Rolodexes. You put little index cards in, they snap into the stupid thing, you put them in alphabetical order. I have Rolodexes that are in my office that are names of people that we contacted and we've kept in contact over the years. And as people have changed jobs and locations and stuff, that we've always kept up with them. People who knew him, places where he used to hang out. And he has absolutely vanished off of the face of the earth. We can confirm his last known address was in. I have to look at the mail again, because we have actual letters from him. He used to write home to my mom every once in a while, keep her addressed of where he was going. But anyways, that's how I got into this. And it was always something that it was a driving force. It was something I'd worked my normal job. I lived a normal life. I didn't go to school for this. I went to school to actually become an art teacher. That was my passion in life, was teaching children, and trying to awaken that inner child that was, well, I felt was stolen from a lot of other people that I knew, not necessarily myself, but trauma has a way of stealing chunks of your life. You just miss it. You don't remember back on it. You certainly the hell don't look back on it fondly. But when my brother vanished, it was mine and my sisters, my two older sisters. I have four sisters. I have two sisters that are older than me, two sisters that are younger than me. But me and my two older sisters, it was our passion to try to find him. And we never have. Nobody's ever been able to find him. And his social security number, his identification, nothing has ever popped up anywhere. So something happened to him. He didn't leave the United States. He never had a passport. He didn't, we've contacted the Passport Bureau and everything else. And the government, nothing. Doesn't show up on any databases in another country. No missing bodies. And it surprisingly, you'd be surprised probably just how easy it is for people and how regularly people disappear in America. They just vanish. They just walk away from their lives and start over somewhere else. And they might live in, Kennebunkport, or Maine or someplace like that. And they'll live a normal life their entire life and never do anything wrong. They'll never file taxes, and everybody knows them, and they may have a business and everything else. And they just live their lives and as if nothing happened. But they just walked away from their life one day. It happens a lot. An awful lot. So that's the answer. And then how I got into YouTube was me and my wife, a close friend of ours, was murdered. And the individual who murdered him was coming up for parole. And I was getting ready to go to the prison to stop him from getting parole, because I want him to rot in hell for what he did. And I went on the internet to go search, and refresh my memory of the case. And I stumbled upon YouTube. I had no desire to ever start a YouTube channel. And I found nothing but lies. Absolute disgusting lies about our friend. I sat through the entire trial. And the guy who actually killed our friend came to my house while I was sitting on the front porch and wanted to hide in my basement. I'd known the family of the person who committed the murder. I'm still friends with that family to this day. But lies. And I asked my wife one day, and I kind of told her more than I asked her, but I said, I'm gonna make a video. And I'm going to put it on YouTube of just the facts about our friend Aaron. And I'm going to put it out there. And I'm going to see if anybody will watch it. And I'm going to tag everybody who's watched that other video, or try to get them to watch the truth. I got nothing. Nobody wanted to watch the truth. Nobody wanted to see it. They wanted to watch the hype, the speculation. They wanted to watch the court TV version of the events, the dramatization of it all. They didn't want to hear me tell them the truth of who my friend Aaron was, and how he lived his life, and how he, was flawed, and how he was trying to make good of his life. They didn't want to hear that. What they wanted to hear was the sensationalism behind it, how the murderer stabbed him multiple times and beat him with a rock, and how he repented for it all years later. They wanted to hear that. So that was my journey into YouTube and how I got to here, and how I started this channel. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep this factual. I'm only going to talk about what I can factually support and document. And I've got an entire file cabinet over there now of nothing but documentation on every damn case that I've covered. And I tell people all the time, I absolutely, welcome any challenge in a court of law to anything that I have ever said on any video. And I stand by that. I will spend my life savings to make everyone know that you're an absolute fool. Not you personally, I'm not talking to anyone, but that you're a fool for challenging me, because I've done everything, crossed all my T's and dotted all my I's, and made sure that I'm absolutely talking about only what I can factually support. People don't like it. They still don't like it. That's okay. I live and I make, make nothing at this, but this is all I do. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there. When it comes to YouTube and social media, people would much rather hear the sensationalism behind everything. And if you can give it to them in under 1 minute, that'd be best. Because we all live in a short attention span theater. I've been touched by Leslie. I was touched by more than just that one tragedy. I was 16 years old, and I watched a gang hit in downtown Minneapolis. And Linda will probably know exactly where I'm talking about. The murder took place a block away from the Hennepin County Library, and just past what was Laugh-In Comedy Club. You go over a little bridge there. It used to be a Burger King. It's probably still there, but it happened almost directly across the street. It happened probably about 8 feet from me. I watched someone's life leave their body. It was a gang hit. One gang against the other. Guy walked right up to him, pulled the gun out, one shot, and then walked away as if there was nothing, wrong with what he had just done. It's a rough area. At least it was back in the 80s. Oh, hi, Inner Peace. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a great weekend this week. Hope next week is even better for you. It's supposed to snow here next week. Well, this coming week. I think Tuesday and Wednesday supposed to snow. Yes, we all have something, don't we? YouTube and stuff can be like when you're alone with the trauma of life. Yeah. Life is, none of us are guaranteed a happy, jolly, life with, filled full of gumdrops and lemonade. No one's ever guaranteed that. None of us have the answer. We're all just trying to make it through life. We find a way to survive. And I guess in a lot of ways, YouTube has been a blessing in disguise for me, because I'm able to sit down and talk with people about things like that so it's kind of therapeutic at the same time. I get to help other people. They get to listen to my stories and how I got through them, how I came out the other side of them, and other people get to share their stories, and we get to, commiserate together and find some way through all this together. And it's been, overall, I would say it's been a very positive journey so far. I'm not anywhere near done with it yet, though. Jabberjaws wants your email. Doesn't do social media. Well, it's on my you go to my About Me page on YouTube. So you go to my main dashboard where it says 411, and it's got like the metrics, like letters and numbers coming down, and it's got the guy on one side. If you go to that page and you go over to the right, if you're on a desktop or on a tablet or you're on your cell phone, just scroll over to it says About Me. Click on About Me, scroll down, and then it'll say, are you a robot? If you want my media, email address. Excuse me. And once you tell it you're not a robot, but if you are a robot, it won't give it to you. But you put a check marks in there, and they'll give you my email address. I'm not hiding it from anybody, but you can do that, or I can just tell you straight off what it is. I'm not hiding anything. It's RECORD record 33 RPM revolutions per minute at gmail.com. Record 33 RPM at gmail.com. I've had that email address since I was in college. Oh boy, that a long time ago. Well, it wasn't Gmail then, it was AOL. But Short Nice, what do you think of criminals, murderers? You blame trauma from childhood of life. It's an interesting question, Short Nice. Huh. The guy who killed mine and my wife's friend Aaron, he blamed a lot of what happened on how his upbringing was. And incidentally, Linda, both of them are from Minnesota. They're from Brainerd. But he blamed a lot of what happened and what he did on trauma that he received as a young child. And I'm sure that it explains a lot of what he did and how he felt towards, human life in general. He felt expendable, unloved. And, that was basically, the story that he pushed out was, he didn't feel loved and he didn't have a connection to anybody. So he felt disposable. Does it condone what he did? No, because everybody lives through life and we have trauma and everything else, but we have to try to find a way through it. And at some point, we have to be held accountable for our actions. Now, that's easy to say, but harder to actually implement in life, isn't it? So, Gone Girl Gone. Good evening, sweetheart. I hope you are having a great night and you had a great weekend. And I want to tell you right now, thank you very much for the donation. I did appreciate that immensely. Thank you. It didn't go unnoticed. Thank you very much. Ha ha ha, Brainerd Fargo. Yeah. Their entire family is from upstate Minnesota. They're from the Brainerd and St. Cloud area. which is kind of a peculiar because that's where my family, well, at least my grandmother's from Little Falls, and we had my great grandfather's farm is just outside. Well, it's no longer in the family. It's been long since sold off, but it was just outside of St. Cloud. But my grandfather, Raymond Voss, Voss, they lived in the St. Cloud area, and he was an honorary son of a ITCH, but he definitely, and my great grandmother passed away. We all thought that he was going to go pretty quickly afterwards, but nope, not him. He refused to die. He refused to give up. Even after he lost his eyesight and they took his driver's license away from him, family did, not the state. We took his driver's license from him. We took the car from him, so he couldn't drive in the town anymore. He was running into more things than he was doing, anything else. So he actually took his snowmobile. It was an old AMC snowmobile, and he took tires and made a tread thing on it out of the tread pattern of tires, and he had bolted it all together so it was the tread part of tires, so he could drive that thing even in the summertime in the town. Refused it. He's like, you ain't taking my life from me. I'm living it my way. And so he could go in and get his shoe and a newspaper. He'd ride the snowmobile in the town, even in the summertime, and then fall, winter. He didn't care. He did that for years. Some are plain evil and use a traumatic childhood as an excuse. Others become evil from childhood trauma. Neither can condone one's actions. Yeah, I agree with that completely. You did? Well, great, sweetheart. I hope it was for a positive thing that you're able to get out, and overall, I'm happy for you. I really am. Remember, take little steps. Don't try to do everything at once. Scott, are you talking about new Peterson case? No, I missed something there. I'm sorry. CG, St. Paul is bad too, but not as bad as Minneapolis. It's where my grandmother's house is in St. Paul. It overlooks the train tracks just before you get to the Capitol. Nobody lives there now. It's part of the historical society, but they actually found a tunnel when they were cleaning up the house and doing remodeling. That went from underneath her house, underneath the train tracks, and came up underneath the Capitol. It was a moonshiner bootleggers tunnel. My grandmother was nuts. Well, that grandmother, she was definitely nuts. She used to take all the old toilets and tubs and everything else, and they became lawn ornaments in her front yard. She'd plant flowers in them all. They're lined up right in front of her house. Everyone have a great night. Tomorrow, nice chatting with y'all. Thanks, Will. Have a good night, Jabberjaws. Jaw. Singular, not plural. Thank you for being here tonight. Hi, Queen C. I hope you're having a great night, Queen C. Welcome to the stream. Hope you had a great weekend. I confirmed with my sister the other day when we were talking about St. Paul. We went to Harding High School in St. Paul. She was nuts. I mean, like seriously, like did not know the day of the week, month, year, the last part of her life, but she was probably, well, I think she was about 4'7", and she was just one feisty little German lady. She refused to let anybody help her do anything ever. Every day she would volunteer at the local supper club that was downtown St. Paul. I don't know if anybody's ever been to a supper club, but she used to go there every single day. Even if there wasn't any activities on, she'd catch a taxi. The taxi come pick her up and take her there. And she'd take the taxi back afterwards. Oh, my night was great. New Year's, I didn't do anything for New Year's. I almost never do. Once in a while, my friends used to have a poker game, but because of COVID, we didn't even do that. And even if they were going to, I wasn't going to go anyways. Our American Legion post had a Friday night dinner. That's cool. I have it here in the studio, but it used to be a garage, and it's got an upward like loft. I still have all my grandfather's American Legion jackets from he was the American Legion's member in Minneapolis, and where did he move after he moved out of Minneapolis? It was a suburb of Minneapolis. I can't remember which one right now. We don't have we have an American Legion post here, but they don't have an actual lodge or any place like that. They have meetings, but the American Legion they meet out of a shared space. It's kind of a community room at a community center. I guess that'd be the best way to explain it. It's actually part of a building that belongs to an electric company that's a co-op, but they have office spaces and meeting rooms that they rent out and let people use for certain occasions. But that's what our American Legion here means. But we have around here for social clubs. We have the Loyal Order of the Moose, which just about every member of my family is a member of. We have Knights of Columbus and Elks, and well, we don't have any of the Shriners here, but we definitely have the Freemasons, which is the Shriners are an offshoot of. What is an American Legion? American Legion is they're a family social organization. I guess that'd be the best way to put it. Our American Legion Lodge is still here, but I think the VFW space is no more. Property so expensive. The VFW here, we have 2 VFWs, but both of them there's almost nothing that goes on there anymore. They have a bar, a very, very tiny bar that seats like 10 people total. They used to have dance floors and DJs and banquets and all kinds of stuff at the VFWs, but Not anymore. It's pretty much faded off. The only social family social organization that's still going strong around here, at least in these parts, is the Moose Lodge, Loyal Order of the Moose. I'm a member of. My wife she's on the Women's Fraternal Organization. She's on the board of directors. My sister's an officer. My niece is an officer. Or no, she's a trustee. My daughter's the trustee. They both had the activities committee. So where does the military get together? Almost nowhere, Quincy. Almost nowhere. They meet in local bars. And there's so few of them that are still around. And that's the thing. And one of the things that kind of killed off the VFW here was there was a lot of infighting within it if they were going to recognize Vietnam veterans. And when half of the group voted that they didn't want to recognize it because it wasn't actually a war, and there was a lot of fighting about that. That was their belief that it wasn't a real war and they weren't real combat veterans. And all the Vietnam veterans were like, F you. They didn't want to be part of that. So they lost that off. And then as veterans have slowly died off from World War II, it's pretty much died off completely. And that's their own fault. There were quite a few times that we offered to, with our lodge, for the Loyal of the Moose, combine, resources in one place with them. But they said no because they wanted it their way. And they're like, okay. So I know the one local here in my city has closed down 3 or 4 times because they've ran out of money. They couldn't pay the electric bill or to keep the place open. I'm not sure if they're still open at all. I haven't been in that area of town in a long time. It's not the best part of town either. Someone called the Good Old Boys Club. Not my verbiage. Every time there are quite a few Loyal Order of the Moose clubs in and around the Twin Cities and the surrounding areas. Every time I'm back there, Linda, I make a point to stop in every single lodge, and they still some of them are a lot more active than others. But the farther back east I get, the more active a lot of lodges are, and membership and everything else. And unlike a lot of social organizations like the Legion and the VFW and the Elks and the Eagles and stuff like that, or family social organizations, the Loyal Order of the Moose is the only one that combined all membership, women, men, everybody is equal, in membership, where they have auxiliaries for women, and the men run the lodge and the women are an auxiliary. They're like a secondary, thought to it all. Not the Moose. We said, screw that. American Legion was very active, huge part. Upbringing, same as your youth. Well, not as much participation after World War II. Vets passed away, end of an era. Yeah. Well, Terry, they're recognized. Vietnam veterans are recognized in the Eagles and Elk and the Loyal of the Moose. Definitely, and it's not. I don't want everybody to get the wrong idea. It's the VFW as a organization. They definitely recognize Vietnam veterans and make them as part of their membership. But a lot here locally is what the fight was the infighting within that actual lodge. And there used to be 3, but then now there's only 2. And I'm not even sure if both of them are still open anymore, but within the organization itself, locally, they were the ones that were fighting about it. But internationally, they totally recognize Vietnam veterans. it just got to that point where they, the old school guard, old school boys club, whatever, they got to the point where they're like, we have rules and these are the rules, and only people who actually fought during wartime or served in active combat or have a good DD-214, and we can document that they were, honorably discharged, are the only people that can be members, of our organization. And but what they didn't realize was they were shrinking the pool of possible, membership down so much. But yeah, when I was younger, we used to have at least where I grew up in Wisconsin. When I was younger, the very active the lodge there was the Freemasons. Freemasons, just about everybody in my family has been a Freemason. But they were Freemasons and Shriners, obviously, with the Freemasons. But the next social organization that a lot of members belonged to was the I want to say they were the Elks, but they might have been the Eagles. But that lodge is gone. It's now a parking lot for a high-rise condominium. So I know that's gone. I've been to the VFW in my area one time in Tampa. They did recognize Vietnam veterans. Yeah. And like I said, that as an organization worldwide, the VFW definitely recognizes Vietnam veterans. It was just here locally, and that it pretty much killed them off because they wanted to fight over, what should they be allowed? Shouldn't they be allowed? And if you're a Vietnam veteran and you put your life on the line, the last thing you want to do is hear, you know what? We don't consider you actual veteran because you didn't fight during an actual war. It was a police conflict. It's all bullshit, and everybody knows it. It was a war. They risked their lives. A lot of people died, and a lot of people were screwed up for a lot of years. Case in point, my father-in-law is a Vietnam veteran, and he has never been the same. Oh, that is absolutely true, Queen C. Mental health has always been a huge issue. Getting mental health help has been a huge issue. I have a lot of friends who came back from the first Iraq War, who are suffering mental and physical problems even to this day, and even all the positive press that I don't necessarily say it was the Veterans Administration put out, but they hired a lot of PR firms to put a lot of positive lip service on, getting rid of wait lists and waiting times and medical appointments canceled for no reason. They did a lot of PR lip service to that, but we don't see it. I know veterans who are still living, outside of the Chicago area, and they're still doing the same thing, waiting to get services, waiting to get treatment. So, but mental health has definitely been a lacking, issue. They'll throw drugs at you. They'll throw a lot of drugs at you. Medicate the crap out of them. Oh, bye, Linda. You have a great night. I have to go. I have things to do tomorrow. The house hunting tomorrow. Lots of places and appointments. Thank you so much for your honesty view on everything. Well, thank you, Linda. I really appreciate you being here. You have a great night. And, if I don't see you before then, I hope the rest of your week, coming up is great as well. Thank you. I know people who died in Vietnam, and they were drafted. Ones that made it back had serious PTSD. Yeah, I can believe that. wasn't diagnosed properly. My father-in-law, he came back from Vietnam. He was contaminated with Agent Orange, and he didn't get compensation for the Agent Orange until I think it was 1990. 1990. He lived all those years suffering, and I don't want to get into it all, but it was deplorable. And the VA just turned a blind eye to it and just kept on medicating him, and nothing was going to help, and nothing helps him now. And it wasn't until I think it was 1990 he finally got compensation for it all. Worst part was after he came back from Vietnam, he didn't leave the Army. Came back after Vietnam, and he was still active Army for I think another 10 years. Then he went into the National Guard. Still was given his time and everything to the government, doing his part. They kept on ignoring him. Do you have a deal with HOA fee? Do you have to deal with? Oh yeah. Do I live in an HOA? Oh hell yeah, I do. I hate my homeowners association. I hate them. The board of officers with my homeowners association, Quincy, are a bunch of idiots. Idiots. You can't wash your car in your driveway unless you get a sticker that you put on the bottle, and you have to be using that approved soap. It has to be the soap or whatever you use to wash your car has to be approved. You can't put anything in your front yard that may deter from the value of the property of the homes around you. You can't paint your house. You can't change certain things in the front yard. You can't cut down a tree if it's rotten or if it's loaded full of gypsy moths and it's going to contaminate and kill every tree in the neighborhood. Can't take that tree down unless you get approval from the HOA. Yeah. I deal with that. They don't like me. They don't like me at all. Approved soap? Oh, yeah. Yep. You can't use fertilizer, weed killer, nothing on your yard. You're only allowed to use 2 approved companies to come out here to spray your lawn for bugs in the summertime. Before that, all the bugs crawl into your homes for ants and flies and gnats, and and we have these things. They're called roly-polies. They're pill bugs. You have 2 companies you're allowed to use. There are probably 24 companies who do pest control and spray control, but you can only use those 2 companies. We're convinced that the board of officers that they're all getting a kickback, some from one of these companies, because it's the same thing every year. We go around and around and around with them. Everybody does, and we've voted out certain people and thought that it was going to change, but nope, it's always stayed the same because the rules are written. It sucks. Yeah. Told my wife if we ever sell this place and we move someplace else, I'm never living in another HOA. Ever. No way am I ever doing this again. I knew it was going to be that much of a problem. If they knew what I did inside of this garage, what used to be a garage, which is kind of, if you look at it, from topographical view, if you took the roof off the garage and looked inside, it's pretty funny what we've done. And we had to do a lot of this under secrecy because you couldn't get permits to do any of this stuff because you couldn't get the HOA to approve it. So we had to do a lot of this, on the down low. My friends came in and did the electrical. So we had to, kind of nonchalantly bring things into, the house and then from through the house into the backyard. Because, you get one neighbor that says, hey, he's doing something over there. He's having something done. And then they start talking and the gossip, in this area starts and it gets back to the, to the HOA board officers. They had to come slap the sticker on our door in a heartbeat, stop. But So there's actually inside what used to be a 2.5 car garage. There's a square box in the middle of it. So there's 10 feet on the other side of this wall, 10 feet on the other side of that wall before you actually get to the ends of the garage. All right. But right here where I'm sitting in this studio is right in the middle. And then behind this wall, there's another 4 feet. And then there's another 6 feet that way on the other side of that wall. But right in the middle, thunk, we built the box, which is the studio. And the other studio that we're building next door, well, it's actually done, but my wife hasn't decorated it yet. But if they knew, they'd come, they'd be on my ass like there's no tomorrow. Thank God there's no HOA there. This is the first time that we have ever lived in an HOA. I never saw this house before we decided to buy it. I wasn't here the day my wife did the walkthrough. She took a video of certain things in the house. I didn't even know there were 2 garages here. Had no idea. She took a picture of the backyard, and the property, and showed me like there's like the big giant, like 2-story, what do you call it, like jungle gym play set thing with a swing and slide. Got a rock wall on one side. Great for my son because he likes to climb everything. But she showed me that was on the video, but I never saw it. I never came and looked at this house once. And then she said she wanted, and I said, great. Well, that's the one we're going to buy then. Because, happy wife, happy life. And I didn't see it until the day we got the keys. And then we came over here to actually, I think I was meeting the power company here to turn the power on. Oh, and then, no, it was the city. It was the city. I had to come here to receive our trash cans because we have city and curbside recycling, and you have 3 different barrels, one for trash, one for cardboard and recyclables, and then you have another one for just yard waste. Then you have the other smaller bins for glass and for aluminum and stuff like that you set out. So I came here to meet the city. It's the first time I ever got to see the house in person. But it works out. It's a lot more room than we need. So there's 4, 6, 7 total bedrooms. The house was built in 1942. It started in 42, was finished in 44. Costly, but it's what the wife wanted. You have the regular recycle bin and trash can and garbage bins. Yeah, but we've never lived anything in like this before. In the HOA, never had 3 trash cans plus the extra bins. Never had any of this. Well, the garbage studio looks great, I must say. Thank you very much, James. But we did a lot of this very under the radar, like all the 2x4s for building the walls. We cut them there with an electric skill saw there in the actual parking lot of Home Depot. And then we laid them out. My buddy who works in construction, he owns a construction company, and then we laid them out, so you lay them on the ground, and then each joint where the 2 of them to come together, like this would be A, B, B, C, C, D, D for the outside of it, and then for the inside, studs, we labeled it, E, E, F, F, and so on, and then brought them in here one at a time. So they laid down in the back of a flatbed, my truck, and brought them in, then constructed them here at night while everybody was asleep, nail gun makes the least amount of noise. Then we stood them all up on this far end on the other side of this wall, stood them up on the other side of that wall, I don't know why I'm pointing this way. Nobody can see where I'm pointing. But we stood them up against the far wall and then put them up into place and then drilled the anchor bolts and then nailed them up into the studs for on the top. But it's all done now. Works for me. But ladies and gentlemen, I have to end this stream. If you are a Patreon member or channel member of 411 Now, I will be doing another stream in less than 10 minutes from now. So I have to end this stream, unfortunately. It's been great talking with everyone. I hope you all have a terrific week and you stay safe and warm out there. And thank you for, to those who have been here and have been so supportive, especially, in light of what has been going on in the world here in the United States, in particular, the last week. Thank you again to everyone. Stay safe, and I will see you again soon.